Good afternoon on this Thursday afternoon. We are trying my live stream again, creating with the Coneflower Celebrations bundle. And I'm just checking that I am live, but I think I am. Oh, hello Sharon. Now, let me see if I can make you a moderator. Nope. You're already in there as a moderator, Sharon, so that seemed to work. So I'm not even sure what you can do, but answer questions. All right, now let's see if we can get the desktop to work. How does that look? It's a little bit flashy. It's a different camera. So it's not too bad, I don't think, in YouTube. Anyway, let me know what you think of is it got the flicker? You can see it's a bit strange. It's got a weird flicker going on. Anyway, let's keep on moving on. This is the card that I made for Colour INKspiration number 192. So let's just have a quick look at that graphic. It's very bright. It's using all 5 colours: Bubble Bath, Timid Tiger, Azure Afternoon, Gorgeous Grape and Blueberry Bushel. But of course you don't have to make your card this bright, and if there's a colour in there that you don't particularly like, you can just add a little smidgen of it in your card and get away with it that way, but you do need to use all 5 colours. So that's the challenge. I've put the link to the challenge Facebook group in the comments below. And if you click on that link, it'll take you straight to the page which gives you all the info. And you have another week to get a project up. So you just pop it into the feed once you get a photo taken. It's a lot of fun, and the girls are all very, very supportive in there. All right, so Sharon says it looks good. That's great. Let us pop back over to this one. So I might be just because I'm going through Streamlabs, but I've got a halo around my fingers. I've got glowing fingers. Not sure what you can see there, but anyway, how this challenge started was I created this card using some pieces of old book paper that I had adhered to some card, and I had those lying around, and I pulled them out and I was using them, and I used that originally, but even though I have used all the colours in this card, I can't, it doesn't really truly reflect the colours because it was on this darker book paper, and the only purple was, I don't even know if you can see it, was this text overstamped in the thingy. Now I can see that this camera is not zooming, it's on a fixed focus by the looks of it, so I'm definitely going to have to do some practice. All right, and then so I moved on and I created this one based on this card, and it is, so I can't even zoom in here, not sure what's going on. Anyway, we'll plow on. You can see me, it's not dropping out, bonus. So then I created this card, and it is still not quite right because I created it on Very Vanilla. So all of the blending and everything is done on Very Vanilla. So that does slightly affect the colours because it's not on white. So today I'm going to recreate this, but I'm going to work on white. Okay, so it is glowing a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. We'll have to do some more practice, Sharon. I tried to make this an unlisted video. Look at that. An unlisted video, but that didn't work either. So we're out there, we're live. Let's have a look at the colours. I don't have my microphone on, so I'm hoping the sound is okay. Maybe I should put that on. Then I'm scared it'll run away and do nothing. At least, can you hear? I'm gathering you can hear me okay. All right, so let's put this aside for a minute and look at the colours. So these were the colours. Got them all around the wrong way. And they're Stampin' Up colours, so it's Gorgeous Grape, Timid Tiger, Bubble Bath, Blueberry Bushel and Azure Afternoon. Now I'm using all of the inks. I've got magic fingers. today. I'm using all of the inks. This is the Coneflower Celebrations stamp set. It's photopolymer. And it does have dies that go with it, which cut out this gorgeous big flower, which also cuts this out. There's dies for the butterfly image. There's a stem. Oops, I haven't even put it on magnetic sheet yet. This one cuts out and then you fold it over, so that makes for some interesting effects on cards. That's the butterfly one. But I'm just using these two dies and the stem today. Nothing too fancy. I'm using some other bits and pieces. This is the Beautiful Motifs bundle, which has all these gorgeous die cuts in it, and we're going to use these two foliage dies and also the stamp set. So we'll be using this one and one of the sentiments. I think I actually used You Made My Day out of the Coneflower one here. So we'll decide what sentiment we're going to use when we get to that. And then I've got the elements of text. This is a great stamp set to have because it just gives you extra in the background if you want to add a little bit extra, if it looks a bit plain. It's easy peasy to use. Maybe a reflection from the white background? Could be. I could remove it and just use the blue. We could try that. Because I've got a blue. What does that look like? Is that any better or worse, Sharon? No, it's glowing there too. I can see it. I think I'm actually not even using the proper camera. It's just the one that came up and I was running late, so we've gone with it. So we'll do a bit of experimenting this afternoon, but we'll just plow on and do this now. So let's get started. Now I'm going to basically be ink blending. I've got a sheet of white card. I'm still going to use Fairy Vanilla for my base, but I've got a sheet of white card that fits into a blueberry bushel background piece. So that's what we'll use to do our ink blending. So I'll bring a couple of blocks in, which I'll use as palettes for my ink. So we're going to use in the background some bubble bath. Now, this is a very, very light ink. You can hardly even see it on there, but there is some on there. I'll leave that open because I will need more. I'm going to use some Azure Afternoon. So I'll just put some on the end of the block and a little bit of Timid Tiger, which is an orange colour. Very well inked, that one. And we'll need the blending brushes to go with those. So I've got my blending brushes here. So we'll start with the lightest one, which is the Bubble Bath. Pick that up. Now I have used the graphic, that is the Colour INKspiration graphic, as my inspiration. So I'm sort of working in rays. So even though this is very light, I still take that excess off first. And then if I start down here and work out, we're going to cover this with a flower, so if I have any blobs, it's not going to matter. And then we'll just add the ink in a circular motion, but in a line. So I'm starting here and I'm sort of working out that way. Now, Bubble Bath is very, very light. So you probably need a few layers to make it stand out a little bit amongst the Timid Tiger and the Azure Afternoon, which are much brighter. Now you can just see that there. I'll come back in a minute, but I will add some other colours first. So we'll do the Azure Afternoon. Where will we do that? I'm doing this in a slightly different order than I did before. Let's do that one over here. We might actually do that one here, and we'll do Timid Tiger at the top. So again, see, I took my excess off so I didn't get any big blobs. And just got a bit of a mark here. The good thing about this card is that we're going to put so much on top that it doesn't really matter because everything gets covered over. We'll add some Timid Tiger on this side. It's a much stronger colour, that one. And down here we'll go with some more blue. Hey Fiona, glad you found it. And Colleen, hello Colleen. Oh, I shouldn't have stopped. Now I've got blobs everywhere, but we won't panic because they will cover over nicely. A little bit more blue in here. And then what will we put down here? I think we'll add some more pink. So I'll need a little bit more ink. I must have blue ink on my finger. Oops. Okay. Now this will be covered, so we don't really need to worry too much about that. We are going to go around the edge with Blueberry Bushel, which covers a multitude of sins. Okay, let's do this here again now and see if we can make that a little bit darker. And we will use what ink is in this because this was very heavy. I'll just blend these edges in a little bit here. Okay, so put these aside because I will need these again in a minute, but we're going to go around the edge with Blueberry Bushel. So let's put some on a block. Hello Brenda, how are you? Alright, I've got a Blueberry Bushel somewhere here. Yes. Okay, now this is, as you can see, quite a bit darker, so be careful. Take your excess off, and you just want to go around the very edge. Work lightly. Now we're going to emboss over this piece, and you could emboss first and do an emboss resist technique. I'm mucking this up a little bit. However, I've got ink, I must have ink on my fingers. That's not hard to do when you're doing something this messy. All right. I've been a little bit heavy-handed there, but it'll all work out in the wash. You'll see, this is why I love doing all these layers upon layers upon layers, because you can cover everything over that you've done wrong in the layers underneath. But I'm going to stamp my text on and then I'm going to emboss over the top. You could use emboss resist and emboss first and then colour over the top. And then you just wipe it off and the embossing usually looks pretty good. However, I'm using gold. Sometimes when you rub the top of the gold, it takes away the glossiness or the shininess of the gold. So I'm doing it the other way around this time. So before we do our embossing, we'll add some text. Now I'm going to use elements of text, and I do have my stamp here. This is the large one, the large round sort of text out of that elements of text stamp set. I'm going to use Gorgeous Grape. Now, it's been a while since I've done this, so I can't remember if I stamped off or not. Doesn't look like I did. But what I did do was I have a piece of paper towel here, and I'm going to ink it up. And I want to show you something first though. So I put this on my block so that that line of text there lines up with the edge. Now, if anyone new has come in, oh, Monica's found me again. Hello. Ladies, this is still not working properly. I did try this yesterday and it failed, and it's still not working properly, and now I have magic fingers. I don't know if you can see my fingers glowing there. I believe it's picked up the wrong camera off the phone, so I still have to do a little bit of practicing of stuff. But anyway, I've inked this up and I've lined it up with the top of the block because this index image is slightly not level with the stamp. It's not the same as the stamp. So if you draw a line, I just want to show you what I did, because my other card that I did, I had to trim this down because it was so crooked I couldn't stand it. Those of you who know me know that I don't do crooked very well, despite my eyes being the most crooked eyes in the world. So what I've done is I've lined it up so that when I stamp, I have to remember to line up the top of the block, not the text. And if I line up the top of the block and not the text, hopefully it will be straight, because if I did it this way and lined this up, it would be crooked. So I have to remember. So someone can stand at the back of me and remind me to straighten it up before I stamp it. I'm going to take the edges off a little bit just with my paper towel, because I do have to overlap it a little, and that just helps blend it in. So we'll start off with, remember I'm lining up the block, not the line of text. And there we go. So I didn't stamp that off because I forgot. It's not too dark. So I can't even zoom in. Normally I would zoom this in. And the blueberry bushel is looking exceptionally vibrant on my screen anyway, due to the camera. So each time I will take those edges off. Remember to line up the block and not the text. And we'll put another one down over here, and sounds very Aussie, doesn't it? Right, line this one up, lining up the block, not the text. You can see they do overlap, but because I've taken the ink off the edges, they don't look too bad. Say you're OCD without saying you're OCD. In some things I am, Monica, and some things I'm not. Things that don't matter, I'm not very OCD, but for me, stamping matters, so yeah, I am a little bit. But then, you know, I do messy stuff like this because I don't have to be, because it doesn't matter if you make a few blues, you just run with it. Right, now here I am being OCD. I'm going to do these little edges, even though they'll mostly be covered. Remember to line up the block, Cheryl, to get this far and then have it crooked. Not that it matters because I'm not using this one. So what I'm going to say, because we're embossing over the top, you need to make sure that all this is very dry before we move on to the embossing. So I could use this one, I guess. I could put it aside and I'll see how dry it is. So it does have to be very dry before we emboss. Otherwise, everything's going to stick to the ink. So now you'll see that even though I had quite a few smudges and I was a bit heavy-handed over here, it doesn't really matter because everything's just been covered over with our text. So bonus. Now, I did do another one. Will I go ahead and emboss? The other one's here. I did this one yesterday. This was my failed one that I started yesterday. So I could just use this one because it is nice and dry. It's been sitting overnight. So we might move straight on to the embossing and use this one. And I've got a second background now that I can use for something else. So I'll just grab my gold embossing powder, my Versamark, and my embossing buddy, and the stamp, which I have no idea what I did with. Here it is, over here. You can't see me rushing around like a mad thing. All right, so now my card is here. Just going to emboss sort of down in this diagonal half of the card. I'm not going to be able to see this because it's going to be in Versamark. So I'll just do this in case I've got finger marks everywhere. Remember, this one has been dried. It has been sitting overnight. Thanks, Monica. Yeah, that's my secret. Add so many things to the card that you can't see what's gone wrong. All right, so now let's see if we can do this without having to emboss and then come back in. Now this again is a very random sort of, just under my big lights here, seeing where I am, a very random sort of image. So even if it does overlap a little bit, it's not going to matter too much. Just trying to remember where I stamped. Don't want any really big gaps though. Can just see it here. I think I need a little bit more up here. Just do the top. Cheating. Alright, and we'll do a bit more down the bottom over here. Now if you're saying I can't see what on earth she's doing, neither can I, so that's all of us. Alright, let's see how well I did, shall we? So see, this is not OCD, Monica. This, otherwise I would have done each one and lined them all up. But no. And I've got a gap. I'll have to fill it. So we'll experiment with it. It's not too bad, but I will fill that gap in. Got a gap here, but we'll fill it in. She'll be right, mate. Okay. Now I'll find my little tweezers. Wonder where they are. There they are. And I've got my heat tool. Now I am just going to switch the microphone off for a minute. Is that okay? Just so this heat tool isn't super loud, but I'll watch the comments in case I forget to turn it back on. All right, let me turn this off. I'm sure I can do this. Turn that back up. Did that work? Did it go really quiet? All right, now let's fill this hole in, only because it's that I'm not covering that with anything, so I really do want to cover that. So make sure this is dry. What we will do is just going to clean my stamp off. I used a chamois, but this is just a cheapo one. Make sure that's dry. And then I'm only going to ink up this top little section here. And put that down in there. Hopefully that will fill that in enough. Look at that. Fixed. All right. Let's just heat that quickly. Oh, forgot to turn the microphone off. Not sure how loud that is. And there we go. That's my background piece done. You can see that the blueberry bushel does end up quite a bit softer over time, so that will settle down a little bit as well. Or maybe I was just a little bit less heavy-handed. Okay, next bit. We need to do a little bit more ink blending. So let's grab a scrap of white paper. Now I've got here 2 pieces of, I did have 2, not sure where they're gone now. I've got, oh, I know what I was going to do. This is just a scrap of white card, basic white, and I've got sticky adhesive on the back. So Stampin' Up! Does sell a sticky backed adhesive, and I've got a piece cut here. When I'm putting my adhesive on the back of a sheet that I'm using, I try and make sure that's a little bit smaller because this is going to be die cut. And if you go over the edge and don't take that off, it'll all get over the plates on your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So this is a piece that I've cut to slightly smaller, and you just pull the backing away. Try and get it nice and level at the top, otherwise it'll go off the edge anyway. And then come in and do the other sheets. So I'm going to use this for the foliage dies because they're quite fine. And sometimes I don't remember, and that's fine, just use some glue. But today I actually am remembering to add the adhesive sheet, sticky back sheet I call it. It's actually called adhesive sheet, to my front. Now I've got 2 ready to go. I don't know if I'll need them. Let me have a look at my dies. I'm going to do a piece, some foliage for the outside, front of the card, and some for the inside at the same time. Very quiet, good. All right, so we need this die, which I think these are like Queen Anne's lace type flowers. So we'll need one of those. We'll need 2 of those actually, because I'm going to put one on the inside. I did the inside of my card as well. I put 2 in there, but I might just put 1 on this one. We'll see how we go. And I need 2 of those, so I am going to need the 2 bits of cardstock to fit them all on. So what I want to do with this one is I'm going to die cut these out of this card once I've inked it. So I could have used blueberry bushel card, but I wanted a lighter, more inky effect to go with the rest of the card. The straight cardstock might have been a bit too harsh. So we will grab my block, which I've still got lots of ink on, but I'll probably need a bit more, and the brush. I'm not quite sure why this desk ends up in such a mess. Alright, so we'll just add now. This can be as blotchy, don't have to do anything special, you're just laying down the ink. We are going to add some more once the pieces are die cut. But they're going to be blotchy, so in this instance blotchy doesn't matter. So that'll give me some nice light background pieces, and we'll do this one as well. Just sort, oh, did I use the right side? But yes, I did. So it feels very liberating to not have to be careful of the blotches for a change. Okay, so there's some nice messy blending. We'll go ahead and die cut those. Now I have my little machine here. I don't know if it'll fit actually under the camera or not. We'll try it. It sort of will. Anyway, you'll get the idea. So let's see what we can get. One sheet. We'll do 2 on one and 2 on the other. How does that sound? I don't have a little mini, so just using the big one. Let's see if we cut that all. Now because we're going through the double stick, I might just run it through again. Actually what we can do is flip it up this way. Here's a trick. So flip it up this way and run it through, because there's more pressure directly from the steel roller if you run it up that way than there is, so you're much more liable to get it to cut properly. Right, I'll grab take a pick tool, which is here. I'll just get rid of this. Now you could use a brush. I'm just going to quickly pull these out so I can do the next. Look at that, beautiful. Right, take all the little, pop all the little bits out. Which, when you use the adhesive sheet, they do stick in here a little bit. That's all those ones out. And now this one. Just don't want to get all these little bits in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. That wouldn't be good. Ta-da! So pretty, much softer look than if I just used straight cardstock. Alright, let's do the other one. Now, we're doing this upside down, aren't we? Yes. I have, sorry, I'm a bit dyslexic, I think. I have to do it up this way to start with, otherwise I'll cut it the wrong way around. So we'll put it on this way to start with. And then I'll flip it round. Then I know I've got everything in the right place. Oh, that's not very level. Run it back through again. And that looks... might just, this one's fine, but see, this one is just not quite cut there. So we'll put that down again. Just because it's got the adhesive sheet on the back, it can be sometimes a little bit tougher. Alright, let's get rid of this thing out of the road. Let's see what we've ended up with. Very pretty little leaves. Get these ones out. And they're all just a little bit different, which is nice. Now I'll clean those out, I promise. I will clean all the little bits out of those when I'm done. Alright, let's get these out. And we are going to add some extra ink to these. Now I could have just done these in white and coloured them up after. My reasoning behind colouring it first is it's way easier just to add a few little touches of ink to them with your blending brush. They're quite delicate, so it's just so much easier to just add a few touches of ink rather than trying to colour the whole lot. So I've already got a nice base colour. Everything goes on the floor. So now we'll come back in with some Blueberry Bushel ink and just add some extra to those die cuts. So if I was to put them over here, while they're pretty, they don't stand out enough for me, which is why I'm going to add a little bit of extra ink to them now. Pick this up and we'll just sort of do the stems and leave the top bits a little bit textured. Same here. Oops. Oops. So I want some dark and light bits. I need a little bit more ink. Again, this is great because it doesn't matter how they turn out. They look fantastic. No matter what you do, foolproof. Just add a little bit more to these ones, just around that top there. Right, don't mind my messy background now. So now we've got, actually what I'm going to do is take this off. Right, that looks better, doesn't it? We've got our background and we've got our leaves. One of these is going to go on the inside, one of these, so we'll choose one to go on the inside, and then these are going to go onto here. So I'm going to trim some off the edge, so we can go ahead and put those on now. So let's see where we're going. We'll put this one on first. So if you haven't put the sticky on the back, now's the time. You'll apply little tiny dots of glue. How are we going, Sharon? Are we still there? Are you still all with me? Or am I still alive, I suppose is what I'm asking. Alright, so we're going to put this one down here and then cut the excess off. And I should have a silicone mat underneath here so it doesn't stick to the cardstock. Just grab some snips, get rid of that before I stick the whole thing to the... Now this can be used for something else, or even maybe for this project. So I'll just grab a sheet of that sticky back that we had left, the paper from the back, stick them on there so they don't stick to anything. This one's going to go up here, like so. Still here? Great, thank you. Watching intently. My fingers. Blueberry Bushel is one of those very intense inks. A bit like shaded spruce. Alright. Pop this one down along here. Twist and turn these little leafy things and take off the excess. Again, I will pop these over here just in case we need them on the rest of the card. We might have to put them down in here. And then this one is going to go in here and sort of stick out into the middle of the card. Now our flower is going to sit here, so it doesn't really matter if you end up with too big a mess there. Oh, love this. Love the sticky back sheet. It's always so satisfying when you remember. Oops, a little bit too far over. There we go. Oops. Now I'll leave these here. I might put them on once I put the stem on, but we'll do the flower first. So let's get all that out of the road. I have already gone ahead and die cut. Oops. some flowers. So they're the two big flowers out of the Coneflower set. Oh, thank you, Brenda. So that's this one, and then the middle bit is this one, which has some amazing, now I can't because it's not going to zoom in. I'm definitely using the wrong camera, but it's got all this amazing little texture in it, which I just love, in the little flower centres, whatever they're called. So I've done two out of Petal Pink, not Petal Pink, Bubble Bath, because that's the challenge colour. So it's Bubble Bath, which is the really light pink. And we are going to colour these up slightly. So we'll do this bit first. Now you could leave it as that, but hopefully I've got some, I think I've got a little bit of Petal Pink ink left on there. And if I knew where I threw all those brushes, that would be also ideal. They're over here. It's not Petal Pink, I keep saying Petal Pink, but it's Bubble Bath, not Petal Pink. All right. Although if you don't have Bubble Bath and you want to enter the challenge, feel free to use Petal Pink. You can substitute if you don't have the exact colours for something very similar, which is very handy if you don't have all of the Stampin' Up! Colours. I'm just adding a little bit of ink to that top because, you know, why not? And people will go, but you can't even see that. And you probably can't in that stupid camera, but it does make it a little bit darker. Especially where I've got blueberry bushel ink over the top, hey? Right, now this one here is going to be coloured with Timid Tiger. Now I do have a smaller, that's Peach Pie, oh well, we'll use Peach Pie, shall we? I do have a small Peach Pie blending brush. Now, if there's any of my class girls here, you did not see this. I'm going to use the Peach Pie blending brush with some Timid Tiger ink, and I've got plenty left on here. And I'm going to colour up my petals. Now, this will be covered, so I can safely hold on to this and just add the ink. Now, I want some of the Petal Pink to show, Petal Pink, Bubble Bath to show. I've got Petal Pink on the brain. I want some of the pink to show. Let's just call it pink. So I'm just coming down here, and I'll do that on this one as well. So we've still got some Timid Tiger, and then we've got the Petal Pink showing right at the ends. Now I do want to add some texture to these as well. So I'm bringing back in that text stamp that we used before and my gorgeous grape ink. And I'm going to stamp onto just the petals. Now this one I stamped straight across without thinking. It did not please me, but I ran with it. This one actually is all different directions. Much prefer that, so that's what I'm going to try and remember to do right now. So I'll ink that up with gorgeous grape, and instead of just going straight across here, I'm going to, well, it doesn't really matter, we can do the whole lot like this. I'm going to come at an angle. There, doesn't that look much better? Oh, I can't show you because I can't zoom in. But it looks so much better when they're all at angles and not straight. There we go. That's what we need to do there. And now we can glue that together. Got some liquid glue here. I'm just going to put a little bit onto here. Glue these together. Now I don't want them straight over the top of one another, so I'm going to just rotate it a fraction so that the petals are all offset. Glue everywhere. Now this one can go straight onto the top of here. That's the non-inked one. Now don't be really heavy-handed with the ink, simply because this has all little holes in it. You really don't want the ink to come through all the little holes. So just pop that down there. I do have a clean block somewhere here. This one will do. Let's pop that on there for a second. Now this one, no wonder I got blue ink all over it. This one I'm going to bend up in the middle so that all of those little textury bits, and I'm so sorry that you can't really see this very well, but anyway, it sort of pushes all those little bits up, and I'm going to put that on top, and to make sure that it stays up I'm going to add some dimensionals. What have we got? We've got some mini ones, they'll do. Take your pick tool. Oh, right here. So we'll just grab a few and put them right in the center. Do 4. And then I'm going to double it, just to give it some exaggerated height. Oh, here comes the rubbish man. Isn't that always the way, right in the middle of the live? Oh gosh. Let's get rid of all these bits. Put them on the floor. Right. 1 and 2. I always say to everyone, I think I must be about the klutziest crafter. When you're just crafting for yourself, it doesn't really matter, and as soon as you put under pressure, oops, I glued this to the, this is where you need your silicone mat. I didn't get that out. Just pop this down onto there. And then to make sure that stays down at the edges, I'll grab, there. I'll grab some mini glue dots, roll it up, and just pop it in under there like that. Same down here. Just make sure your glue dots are tucked all the way in. And then same at the top. One and this one. Tuck it in, and then theoretically some of these will have stuck to the dimensionals, but theoretically you can make all these little thingamajiggies stick up. And it just gives it some dimension and a little bit of extra texture. Right, now I think we need to, before I start putting too much more on here, I'll put this card together. Well, we do need a stem. Let's do a stem. There is a stem die in the Coneflowers. This stem here, which is way too long for what we need. Where's my blue bits? We only need a little bit. So we can, if we die cut just a piece out of here, I'll just do that off camera. So that's all we need, because we just need it to fit here. and I will make it dark so that it stands out against all those dark leaves. And it can just go on here. And it's got sticky on the back already, so take the sticky off, glue it on, and then cut the excess off, she says. So let's just pop that down, cut the excess off, and then this can get glued onto here, but we'll glue our card together first. I have a matting layer, so that can go on there like that. A little bit of glue. I use liquid glue mainly, but your seal or double-sided tape, whatever you prefer. I started using liquid glue when my eyes started to go a bit bad because it was just way easier to try and get my layers straight. And here is my very vanilla card. Make sure it's all stuck down. Make sure that we're up the right way. Okay. So now our flower can go on here. So I haven't worried too much about the ends popping off the edge of the card, but what I am going to do is grab my bone folder and I'm going to make these leaves round. So I'm going to round them and then push them up from the base. See, I'm pushing them up and then rounding them. And then they're going to go on here, and to keep that up, I'm going to add some dimensionals in underneath here. So I'll lay this down and I'll grab some larger dimensionals. Have some, yes, a brand new one. So, are you a pull it out of the middle dimensional girl, or do you start around the edges? I'm a pull it out of the middle, but then I usually go with the next one. I don't, you know, have them pulled out from everywhere. So we'll just use those four, and that may also need to be doubled up, I think. And if you're going to put dimension in something, go all out. So pop another one on top. 2, 3. I will tell you that if I was sitting here doing this on my own, this would be much more precise. All these dimensionals would match. There'd be none of this offset like they are now. But I do try and go a bit quicker. And you're all sitting around waiting for me. Get that a bit of a zhuzh up, and then lay this down onto here. Now I didn't put any glue under here, that was pretty stupid of me. Okay, so I should have put some glue under there, but because I haven't, I'm just going to add a couple of glue dots. Should have put my liquid glue on there before I put the whole thing down. but glue dots will hold it. Just pop them in underneath like that. And then you've got that nice little bit of puffiness to the petals on there. The sentiment has been embossed onto a scrap of blueberry bushel, but I've used white, so I'll just grab my white powder over here, and I think we'll use the same sentiment which was out of the Coneflower You Made My Day. Quite like that. Could use Celebrating You, that might be nice. What about Celebrating You? Let's use that. If I can find it here. Oh, this one? No, this one. Now, I did have a lovely little block somewhere that fit this perfectly, but never mind, we'll use this monstrous huge block. Oh, maybe this one will fit. Yeah, this one will do. I'll just put it sideways. There we go. Right, embossing buddy. Now, I haven't used this before. This is the first time, so I will give it a little bit of a stamp if I could find my Versamark. Here it is. Just going to do that. Just sort of hopefully seasons it enough. Now I'm going to do 2 while I've got everything out. I'm just going to hand cut it, so but if I do 2 I don't have to pull all this out again, hopefully. Right. Not too bad. I've got a few little extra bits, and I don't know if I've got a brush here. Got a huge one. I think that'll work. I have a nice little fine one, but will do. All right, noise again from the heat tool. So the second one down here is way better, so we'll use that one. Now, Sharon, you'll know why I have that huge box of sentiments there. Oh, thank you, Brenda. Yeah, oh, well. Yeah, I am a bit over the top sometimes. Now, this time, the other ones I cut square, this time I'm sort of cutting around the edge. Now when I go to cut my edges and they're a bit like cutting close to the word, I just go wiggle, 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 wiggle. There's no following it. I just wiggle the scissors to make it look like I followed it, but it's not really. I'm just wiggling the scissors. There we go. With this one I cut them square and cut them into 2. With this one I'm just going to pop it there like that. I did put it on flat. I didn't worry about dimensionals, but you certainly could put dimensionals. What would it look like with dimensionals? No, I think I'll put it flat. Oops. Pick it up. Just pop down that little gap there. And on the front, anyway, the last thing is some little butterflies. So we'll use the brushed brass butterflies, which I just threw over here before. So they are here somewhere. Grab the larger ones. Nice to be able to use the larger ones. So grab those. Sort of just randomly put them in the foliage, or you could float them in the sky. Sort of up to you. It's a nice little gap there. And we'll put one down somewhere over here. It doesn't really show up very well there, although you can see him, so I'll just pop him on the edge of the foliage here. Here we go. Just that little bit of extra. And now, while we're here, oops, you didn't see that. While we're here, I will quickly do the inside. I'm using Very Vanilla as my background, but I am going to use the bubble bath, which I need a little bit more ink. Got the name right this time. Amazing. And we will add just a little bit of bubble bath. Now if I did that over there, it would be purple, because it'd pick up this ink and put it onto my, it actually is a little bit purple. Obviously got some of the ink on it. That could also be because I'm working on the Very Vanilla, which will change the colour up. Now you don't need much, that'll do. Which will change the colour up slightly. We will add some text. Now I'm not double stamping this, so I don't need to take the edges off. Just add a little bit of text down in here. Now remember, line up the block, Cheryl, not the text. Da-da-da, I should have text stamped it off. That's okay. And I had one little flower left here. Can go down there. I don't want it to be too tall, so it can just sit there like that. Cut the bottom off. Oh, it's not sticking because I need to dry that ink, so just bear with me. The ink's still wet. The sticky back sheet does not like wet ink. Hopefully that'll be a bit better. Right, so we'll put that down there, that's better. And take the bottom off. And we had all these other little leaves left over, we may as well use some of these. Let's add a few little extra leaves down the bottom here. Actually, one will probably do it. I think what I did with my other one here is I put some of these down the bottom in here. Just to fill in that gap a little bit. I think that's what I did, because I used them all. Just something like that. Then you've got to trim these off, but you can do that. There we go. This is going to go on the inside with some glue. I did have another layer. Yes, I did. Someone's cooking dinner here somewhere. It smells delicious. One of our neighbours. And put that one on the inside. Oops, got blue ink all over that. Because of my hands are filthy. All right, that'll glue down. Okay, and that's it. How's that looking? Now, you know what? I hate... Oh, here's a white piece. There we go. Doesn't that look better now? So that's that one. And this is the other one that I made. You can see how the colours of the inks are far more true to the real ink colours. This one was done on Very Vanilla, and it's taken the inks to a slightly, like this is slightly green. This is the Azure Afternoon is slightly green because it was on Very Vanilla. So this one is just far more true to the actual challenge colours. All right, so let me come back to my face and have a look and see. Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you for coming along. That's been fun, and other than the camera being a bit of a pain, at least we got through it and it didn't drop out. So we're moving in the right direction. All right. So thank you, Sharon, Fiona, Brenda, Monica. I hope you've enjoyed that, and yeah, have some fun with your ink blending and keep adding layers, and then that certainly solves a lot of issues if you make little blues along the way. Thank you, ladies. Don't forget, pop over and put a card into the challenge if you've still got a week to go. We've got an extra week for this one, so please do. We'd love to see what you create. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you all later.